Today in this video I'm gonna be building or profiling a small hunter knife. I got a piece of 5160, not from the leaf spring, but one that I ordered online, inside the forge, getting it hot and ready to start working with. It's gonna be a fun day and it's a really fun project. Here I'm gonna get the piece out because it's just bright yellow like the way that I like to work with. And I'm gonna start hammering down the upper part of the bar. You see I'm already done some work on it. Basically I'm profiling the back of the knife. This is not the edge, this is the back of the knife. You're gonna see me flipping around the bar because as I'm building this slope on the back, I flip it around and try to make it flat. The idea is to keep the bar as flat and even as possible. See, I'm hammering both sides and always checking how straight the piece is. I like working with straight pieces of steel. I don't like the measuring to advance too much. I find it easier to work with a flat bar and an even bar. It's a little bit cold and back to the forge it goes. We continue with the process. It's a long process, a delicate process. We hammer down, we deal with the mushroom, and we check for straightening. Now the bar is getting colder, so you see my blows getting lighter. Back to the forge it goes, and we continue doing the same over and over and over until we're happy with the profile and we are ready to move on to deal with the handle. Here in this heat I'm just dealing with the mushroom and I make it flat. If you see, give me a little I'm doing a little bit of blows on where the handle is gonna start and making the bar flat. Right now I believe I'm happy the way the blade looks, so I'm gonna be working more and more on making it flat and start working with the handle. It's always important to keep a clean piece. Yeah, see, I'm working with the jump between the blade and the handle, trying to make more of that finger well, if you please. Same aspect applies. You give some blows and you deal with the mushroom. You don't want to be dealing with too much mushroom that can be a problem later, right? Try always to keep your blade, your bar, as flat and even as possible. This is a way that I developed myself to go deeper into the finger well. And as you notice, a lot of people like to work on the edge of the anvil. I found that, yeah, very useful. However, it deforms the back of the blade too much. So I keep the back on the blade flat on the anvil while I provide the blows with the hammer. Here I'm just flattening the bar. I did too much mushroom. You're gonna see me flipping between the pin of the hammer and the head of the hammer over and over, checking for straightness and back to the forge. If you notice, the videos are a little bit sped up. This is a long process and I did everything 4 times faster so you guys don't have to go over the same video, the same process over and over with me just blowing blows to the bar, right? So I think we're happy where we are. Hello world! It's time to continue with my random knife that I was building after an eternity or hammering and flattening and hammering and flattening. We have gone pretty far. This is 5160 steel and I'm keeping it flat and even. So we're down profiling the back and this part a little bit. The whole edge is ready to go. The handle is coming along very well. Right, it's time for me to remove this piece of metal that I use with my tongs and start profiling and forming the handle to the shape that I want, right? You're gonna see that in the video shortly. And if you're wondering, yes, this is the leaf spring that I'm working with for the apocalyptic challenge in the other video playlist, and we're gonna be putting that aside for now and having just some fun. I switched gears from one project to another because my helpy helper wants to be present every time that we work on the apocalyptic challenge. You will see him in the new video coming up. Stay tuned. We are getting in color ready to start flattening this out. I noticed that the tip was a little bit wider than the rest of the blade, so I'm gonna try to make it the same thickness and flattening that out. So I'm still using this part of the blade, so this is very handy to work with. Here I'm just gonna work on the sides and the bevels of the blade. It is a little bit uneven and a little bit on the tip. So you see my hammer blows are actually really light and always checking for thickness and straightness, right? The idea here is not much of forging, but correcting some of the issues from the last session. This is a funny part because you're gonna see holding between my legs the blade and using the flattening hammer to make this thing as flat as possible. It's a funny situation. Here you will see more of me holding the piece between my legs and holding a flattening hammer with one hand and blowing it with the other one. The idea is, this is a technique that blacksmiths use all the time, especially when they work alone, and this is the reason why the anvil is a knuckle height, so you can do these kind of funky things while you're working alone, right? This is an improv flattening hammer. I bought a hammer on Harbor Freight and welded a half-inch piece of steel at the end of it, and here I'm showing you how now the tip is no longer thicker than the rest of the blade. Is pretty flat, pretty even, except for the handle part that I'm working on, right? At this point, I'm very happy how this knife is turning, and I'm looking about a 4.5 inches of blade, so I'm happy where this is going. All right, so we have our knife flat and even. The tail is gone, so we're gonna finish this handle. We're gonna work a little bit on the curve of the handle here. We're gonna make it a little bit thinner, this a little bit deeper, a small twist, and we're gonna check how comfortable this is. So it goes back into the forge, right? Wish me luck. We continue working with the handle. This time the attachment at the end is not there, so I change my tongs, do some heavy blows in the curve that I want to establish, and a bunch of light blows to keep it straight and even, and dealing with the mushroom. As the steel cools off, my blows are lighter and lighter. As I work with the handle, the knife starts curving like a banana, so I smack it against my anvil to straighten the back of the knife, right? Nobody wants to be dealing with a boomerang banana. Check for straightness and back to the forge for more. So this is the part of the knife that is really interesting. I got it how I want it, right? I am going to be working on this area of the handle a little bit more in the grinder, that I will continue with the forge because it's getting all bananas and I need to be straightening this out, hitting it in the anvil. So right now it has some warps, so we're gonna do gentle notches to keep it as straight as possible, and I'm gonna start working on the bevels. Here we are almost done for today, so in this section I'm just gonna make the blade as straight as possible, right? We only gonna do light blows when needed. I noticed certain twists, especially towards the middle, And I always like to correct those, close my day with the knife as straight as possible, so the next time that I take it I can continue without working so much. I notice some bending on the bevel, some bending on the back, light blows, it's getting colder a little bit on the tip, and boom, straight as an arrow. We're happy with it. And now we're going to put it in the forge, turn off the forge, and call it a day. Thank you for watching the first part of this build. More to come.